I thought I knew my wife until I let our 7-year-old son open her hotel room door and discovered I'd been living a lie built on money, race, and quiet contempt. What I saw that morning didn't just end my marriage, it taught me that sometimes the most powerful revenge isn't raising your voice, it's walking away with your dignity intact while everyone who underestimated you watches in silence. This is the story of how a rich white woman's affair with her arrogant consultant became the best thing that ever happened to a black maintenance man who refused to stay where he wasn't respected. Some victories don't come with applause. They come with the sound of your own footsteps walking toward a life you built yourself. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're watching from, because you're going to want to see how silence became my greatest weapon. I watched my wife's taillights disappear around the corner, and something in my chest tightened. Not fear, not even suspicion, really. Just a feeling that something had shifted without my permission. The morning had started like any other Thursday. I'd gotten up at 6, made breakfast for Noah and Lily, and packed their lunches while Elena moved through the kitchen like a ghost passing through walls. She'd always been distant. That was part of who she was. But this morning felt different. "I have a work trip," she'd said, pouring coffee into her travel mug. "2 nights. I'll be back Saturday morning." I nodded, spreading peanut butter on Noah's sandwich. "Where to?" "Downtown, the Grand Meridian." She checked her phone. "Just meetings, strategy sessions." The Grand Meridian was 20 minutes away. I knew the place. I'd fixed their industrial freezers twice last year when their regular maintenance guy was on vacation. Fancy hotel, marble everything. The kind of place where a cup of coffee cost what I made in an hour. "You need a hotel that close?" I asked, keeping my voice casual. She didn't look up from her phone. "It'll run late. Easier than driving home tired." That made sense. Elena ran her family's investment firm now that her father had stepped back. Long days were normal. Late nights happened. I understood that when we got married 5 years ago. But something about the way she said it made my hands pause on the sandwich. "Daddy, you're squishing it," Noah said from the table. I loosened my grip. "Sorry, buddy." Elena kissed the kids on their foreheads, quick, efficient movements, and headed for the door. She stopped with her hand on the handle and turned back to me. "Marcus." I looked at her. Really looked. She wore a navy suit I'd never seen before. Her hair was different too, softer somehow, like she'd spent time on it, and that perfume, not her usual scent. "Yeah? Thank you for holding things down." Then she was gone. Noah slurped his juice. "Is mommy mad?" "No, baby, she's just busy." I handed him his lunchbox. "You got everything for school?" "Uh-huh." Lily climbed into my lap, wrapping her small arms around my neck. She did that more lately, like she could feel the cold space growing in our house and wanted to make sure I was still warm. "I love you, Daddy." I held her close. "I love you too, Lily Bean." After I dropped them at school, I drove to the industrial complex where I worked. I was a maintenance supervisor, not glamorous, but honest work. I fixed things: air conditioning units, heating systems, refrigeration. I was good with my hands, good at understanding how things worked and why they broke. My coworker Jerome was already in the break room when I arrived, feet up on a chair, scrolling through his phone. "Your wife still treating you like the help?" he asked without looking up. I poured coffee. "Don't start." "I'm just saying, rich woman marries a regular guy. It's cute at first, then reality hits." He shrugged. "My cousin went through the same thing. His wife came from money. Eventually she started looking at him like he was the landscaper she forgot to fire." "Elena's not like that." Jerome raised his hands in surrender. "If you say so, man." But his words stuck with me all morning while I replaced a compressor on the third floor. Maybe because part of me wondered if he was right. Elena and I came from different worlds. That was obvious from day one. She grew up in a house with actual columns out front. I grew up in a two-bedroom apartment with my mom and three siblings. We met at a coffee shop 6 years ago. I was there studying for my certification exam. She was there hiding from her father's endless business calls. We started talking, and somehow that turned into dating, and then into a small wedding that her family attended but didn't really approve of. I knew what they thought. I could see it in her father's eyes every time he looked at me. This quiet calculation, this waiting for the experiment to fail. My phone buzzed around lunchtime. Elena, everything? Okay, at home. Me, yeah, kids are at school. Elena, good. That was it. No heart emoji, no miss you, just good. I stared at my phone for a long moment, then put it away. That evening, after I picked up the kids and made dinner, spaghetti and meatballs, Noah's favorite, my phone rang. Elena's name flashed on the screen. Hey, I answered, watching Lily color at the kitchen table. Hi. Her voice sounded bright, too bright. How are my babies? They're good. Want to talk to them? In a minute. Actually, I wanted to ask you something. She paused. What are you doing tomorrow morning? Work. Why? I thought maybe you could bring the kids by the hotel. For breakfast. Around 8? I frowned. Why? I just miss them. And the hotel has this beautiful breakfast room. I thought it would be nice. A little surprise before I come home. Something about her tone felt rehearsed, like she'd practiced this conversation. The Grand Meridian? I asked. Yes, it's really lovely, Marcus. The kids would enjoy it. Lily tugged on my shirt. Is that mommy? I nodded at her and spoke into the phone. I don't know. I'm supposed to be at work by 8:30. Just this once? Please? I really want to see them. There it was again, that slight tremor in her voice. Not quite guilt, not quite anxiety, something in between. Okay, I said finally. We'll be there. Perfect. Relief flooded through the phone. I'll text you the room number, just come straight up. I'll have breakfast ready. After we hung up, Noah looked up from his homework. We're going to see Mommy? Tomorrow morning, before school. Cool. He grinned. Is the hotel fancy? Very fancy. Lily climbed into my lap again. Will Mommy be happy to see us? I kissed the top of her head. Of course she will. But that tightness in my chest was back, stronger now. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat in the living room with all the lights off. Our house was beautiful. Elena's family money had bought it, though we never talked about that. High ceilings, hardwood floors, a backyard big enough for the kids to run around in. But sitting there in the dark, it felt more like a museum than a home. My phone buzzed. Elena. Good night. I stared at the heart emoji for a long time. When had she stopped saying I love you and started using symbols instead? I typed back, good night. No heart. She didn't seem to notice. I woke up early Friday morning with that same tight feeling in my chest. The kids were excited, bouncing around while I got them ready. Noah wanted to wear his good shoes. Lily picked out her favorite dress, the yellow one with flowers. We're just having breakfast, I said, but I let them dress up anyway. The drive downtown was quiet. Morning traffic was light. The kids chattered in the back seat about what kind of food fancy hotels served. I gripped the steering wheel and tried to ignore the voice in my head telling me something was wrong. The Grand Meridian rose up like a monument to money, all glass and steel and perfectly trimmed hedges. I pulled into the parking lot and found a spot near the back. Wow, Noah breathed, pressing his face against the window. It's huge. Come on, I said, unbuckling my seatbelt. Mommy's waiting. The lobby was even fancier than I remembered. Marble floors so shiny you could see your reflection. Crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. Leather furniture that looked like it cost more than my truck. An older black woman stood behind the concierge desk. She smiled when she saw us. Good morning. Morning, I said. We're visiting someone. Lovely children, she said warmly, winking at Lily. Lily beamed and waved. My phone buzzed. Elena, running a few minutes behind. Use the room key I'm sending to the front desk. Go ahead and come up. I frowned. Running behind? The concierge, her name tag said Mrs. Carter, handed me a key card. Room 847, 8th floor. Elevators are just around the corner. Thank you. In the elevator, Noah pressed the button for the 8th floor, grinning. This is cool. I watched the numbers climb. 5, 6, 7. That tightness in my chest was turning into something else now. Something heavier. 8. The doors opened onto a quiet hallway with thick carpet that swallowed sound. I held Lily's hand while Noah walked ahead, checking the room numbers. Here it is, he called out. 847. I stopped in front of the door, hesitated. Daddy? Lily tugged my hand. Aren't we going in? I handed Noah the key card. You want to do it, buddy? His eyes lit up. Really? Go ahead. He swiped the card. The lock clicked. He pushed the door open, and everything changed. The first thing I saw was the man, white, maybe late 30s, standing in the middle of the room in dress pants and an undershirt, holding a coffee cup like he belonged there. The second thing I saw was Elena's suitcase open on the bed, her clothes mixed with his. The third thing I saw was the look on the man's face when he turned toward the door. Not surprise, not even embarrassment, amusement. Daddy? Lily's voice was small. I stepped into the room, putting myself between my children and this stranger. Noah, Lily, stay by the door. The man set down his coffee cup slowly. You must be Marcus. I didn't answer. I was looking past him, scanning the room. Elena's laptop was open on the desk. Photos of our family, my family, minimized at the bottom of the screen. Her jewelry was scattered on the nightstand next to a half-empty bottle of wine. Where's my wife? Shower. He gestured toward the bathroom door like this was all perfectly normal. She'll be out in a minute. Noah's hand found mine. I squeezed it gently. The man studied me with that same amused look. She said you were understanding about these things. Understanding. That word landed like a punch. Daddy? Lily whispered. I don't like it here. Neither did I. The bathroom door opened. Steam rolled out. Elena appeared in a hotel robe, her hair wet, and froze when she saw us. Marcus, her face went pale. You're early. You said 8 o'clock. The man, I still didn't know his name, didn't want to know, picked up his coffee again. I should probably go. That's a good idea, I said quietly. He looked at Elena. She nodded, not meeting my eyes. He grabbed a shirt from the chair and walked past us without another word. The door clicked shut behind him. Silence filled the room, heavy, suffocating. Elena tightened the belt on her robe. Let me explain. The kids are here, I said. She glanced at Noah and Lily like she'd forgotten them. Right, of course. She forced a smile. Hi, babies. Why don't you wait in the hallway for just a minute? Mommy and Daddy need to talk. No. My voice came out harder than I meant. We're leaving. Marcus, we're leaving. I turned toward the door, guiding the kids ahead of me. Elena called my name again, but I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. If I stopped, if I stood there one more second looking at her face and that room and those mixed clothes, I would say something the kids shouldn't hear. Mrs. Carter looked up when we crossed the lobby. Her smile faded when she saw my face. Have a blessed day, she said softly. I nodded and kept walking. In the truck, Noah stared straight ahead. Is Mommy mad at us? No, baby. She's not mad at you. Then why? Not now, Noah. I started the engine. We'll talk later. Lily was crying silently in her booster seat. I reached back and squeezed her foot. It's okay, Lily Bean. Everything's going to be okay. But I wasn't sure I believed that. My phone started buzzing before we even left the parking lot. Elena's name flashed over and over. I let it ring. Then it buzzed with texts. I didn't read them. I drove the kids to school and walked them inside, even though I was going to be late for work. I needed to see them safe, needed to see them smile at their teachers and run off to their classrooms like the world wasn't breaking apart. In my truck, alone finally, I sat in the school parking lot and let myself feel it. Not anger, not yet. Grief. The marriage I thought I had, the partnership, the respect, the love had been a lie. Maybe not from the beginning, but somewhere along the way, Elena had stopped seeing me as her husband and started seeing me as something else. Someone she could manage, someone she could dismiss, someone who wouldn't mind. My phone buzzed again. This time I looked. Elena. Please come back so we can talk. Elena. I know how this looks. Elena. You don't understand the pressure I've been under. Elena. I made a mistake, but it doesn't change how I feel about us. Us. Like there still was an us. I turned off my phone and drove to work. Jerome took one look at my face and didn't make jokes. You okay, man? No. Want to talk about it? No. He nodded and left me alone. I spent the day fixing things that could actually be fixed. A broken thermostat, a leaking pipe, a faulty circuit breaker, simple problems with simple solutions. My life wasn't going to be that easy. When I picked up the kids that afternoon, they were quieter than usual. We drove home in silence and I made them grilled cheese sandwiches for dinner because I couldn't think about anything more complicated. Is mommy coming home tonight? Noah asked, pushing his sandwich around his plate. I don't know. Did we do something wrong? I crouched down beside his chair so we were eye level. No, you didn't do anything wrong. Neither of you. I looked at Lily too. Sometimes grown-ups have problems that have nothing to do with kids. This is one of those times. But you and mommy are fighting. Yeah, we are. Are you going to fix it? I touched his cheek. I'm going to make sure you and your sister are okay. That's what matters most. That night, after I put them to bed, I sat in the living room again with the lights off. My phone was still off. I wasn't ready to hear Elena's voice, wasn't ready to listen to explanations that would probably just make everything worse. Instead, I thought about that man in the hotel room, the way he'd looked at me, that smirk. She said you were understanding about these things. Like I was some kind of doormat. Like my marriage vows meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. And Elena, standing there in that robe, not apologizing, not crying, just annoyed that I'd shown up early and ruined whatever story she'd been planning to tell. I'd spent 5 years trying to fit into her world, learning which fork to use at her parents' dinner parties, biting my tongue when her father made comments about different backgrounds, accepting that I would always be the maintenance guy who got lucky enough to marry up. But I'd never complained, never asked her to change who she was. I just loved her and worked hard and tried to be the best father I could be. And she'd looked at all of that and decided it wasn't enough. Decided I wasn't enough. The house creaked around me, too big, too expensive, too much like a cage. I turned my phone back on. 63 messages. I deleted them without reading. Then, I opened my notes app and started typing. Not a plan. Not yet. Just thoughts. Things I needed to remember. The kids come first. Dignity matters more than anger. Silence is stronger than shouting. I saved the note and turned off my phone again. Outside, a car pulled into the driveway. Headlights swept across the living room walls. Elena was home. I stood up and waited for her to come inside. The front door opened slowly. Elena stepped inside, still wearing the navy suit from this morning. She saw me standing in the dark living room and stopped. Marcus. I didn't move, didn't speak. She closed the door softly behind her and set her purse on the hall table. We need to talk. The kids are asleep. I know. She moved closer, and I could see her face in the dim light from the street lamp outside. No tears, no trembling, just that same controlled expression she wore in business meetings. What you saw this morning, I don't want to hear it right now. You have to let me explain. No. The word came out quiet but firm. I don't have to do anything. She blinked. I'd surprised her. Usually, when we had problems, small ones like forgetting to pick up milk or missing a school event, I was the one who smoothed things over, the one who said it was okay, the one who made peace. Not tonight. Marcus, please. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. Don't. Something flickered across her face. Frustration, maybe, or anger. You're being childish. Childish. Yes. Running away with the kids, ignoring my calls. You had another man in your hotel room. My voice stayed level, calm. That seemed to bother her more than yelling would have. Our children saw him. That's why I'm trying to explain. What's his name? She hesitated. Daniel. How long? Marcus. How long, Elena? She wrapped her arms around herself. 3 months. 3 months. I did the math in my head. That took us back to October. Halloween. I'd taken the kids trick-or-treating while she worked late, or said she was working late. The other business trips, I said. Were those real? She didn't answer. That was answer enough. I walked to the window and looked out at our quiet street. Nice houses. Good neighborhood. The kind of place I dreamed about giving my kids when I was growing up in a cramped apartment where the heat only worked half the time. Why? I asked. It's complicated. Try simple words. She moved closer behind me. I could smell that new perfume. You don't understand the pressure I'm under. Running the company, dealing with my father's expectations, trying to be everything to everyone. So you slept with someone else. I needed something that was just mine, something separate from all the responsibility and obligation. Her voice got quieter. Daniel doesn't need anything from me. He just... Stop. I turned to face her. I don't want to hear about what he gives you. You asked why. And now I know. You were stressed. You wanted something easy. I could hear the edge creeping into my voice and pulled it back. Did you think about Noah and Lily before you invited him to that hotel? Of course I did. Did you think about how they'd feel if they found out? They weren't supposed to find out. She said it like that made it better. You came early. You invited us there. For breakfast, I was going to send Daniel away before you arrived. I stared at her. That's your defense? You planned better, but I ruined it? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean? She pressed her fingers to her temples. I don't know. I'm not thinking clearly. Neither am I. I moved toward the stairs. I'm going to bed. Marcus, wait. We'll talk tomorrow, when I can think straight. I went upstairs and checked on the kids, both sleeping. Noah had kicked his covers off. I pulled them back over him and kissed his forehead. In Lily's room, I found her clutching her stuffed rabbit, the one I'd won for her at the county fair last summer. In our bedroom, my bedroom, Elena's bedroom, I didn't know what to call it anymore. I lay down on top of the covers fully clothed. The bed felt too big. The whole house felt too big. I heard Elena come upstairs an hour later. She paused outside the door and I closed my eyes, pretending to sleep. After a long moment, her footsteps continued down the hall to the guest room. The next morning, Saturday, I woke up to small voices downstairs. I went down and found Elena making pancakes while Noah and Lily sat at the table, watching her like she was a stranger they were trying to figure out. Good morning, she said. She brightly, too brightly. I thought I'd make the kids their favorite breakfast. Noah loved pancakes, but something about seeing Elena flip them, something she almost never did, made my stomach turn. "Morning," I said. Lily scrambled out of her chair and ran to me. I picked her up and she buried her face in my neck. "Lily Bean, you okay?" She nodded but didn't lift her head. Elena set a plate in front of Noah. "There you go, sweetheart." He poked at it with his fork. "Thanks." The silence felt like a physical thing, pressing down on all of us. After breakfast, Elena suggested taking the kids to the park. I said no. She suggested a movie. I said no. Finally, she stopped suggesting things and just watched while I helped Noah with a puzzle and read stories to Lily. Around noon, her parents called. I heard her voice in the kitchen, carefully neutral. "Yes, everything's fine. No, just a busy week. I'll call you tomorrow." When she came back, she looked at me. "My father wants us to come for dinner next week." "No, Marcus, I'm not sitting at your father's table and pretending everything's perfect. He doesn't know anything's wrong." "Good. Let's keep it that way until I figure out what I'm doing." She sat down on the couch, deflating slightly. "What are you doing?" "I don't know yet. Are you leaving me?" The question hung in the air. Noah looked up from his puzzle. "Kids," I said, "why don't you go play upstairs for a bit?" "But I want to finish—" "Noah, upstairs. Take your sister." He heard something in my voice that made him obey. They left, and I waited until I heard their door close before turning back to Elena. "I don't know if I'm leaving, but I know I can't stay like this." "Like what?" "Like someone you settle for because I'm convenient." I kept my voice level. "Like someone who's supposed to smile and accept whatever you do because you're the one with the money and the power and the important family." "I never treated you like that." "Yes, you did, just not in a way that left bruises." She flinched. "Good. She should flinch." "I loved you," I continued. "I respected you. I never once made you feel small because you came from money, and I didn't. I never threw your family's opinions in your face or complained when your father looked at me like I was something he scraped off his shoe." "He doesn't—" "Yes, he does, and you let him. Just like you let your friends make jokes about you marrying down. Just like you let Daniel think I was so pathetic I wouldn't even care about being cheated on." Her face went red. "He didn't think that." "She said you were understanding about these things." I quoted his words exactly. "What did you tell him about me, Elena? What story did you create to make yourself feel better?" "Stop it. Did you tell him I was weak? That I'd never leave because I needed your money?" "Marcus, did you tell him I didn't matter?" "No." She stood up, finally showing emotion. "I never said that. Daniel's he's arrogant. He assumes things." "Based on what you told him." She looked away. I sat back in my chair, suddenly exhausted. I need to think. I need space to figure out what I want. "We can go to counseling," she said quickly. "Work through this." "Maybe. Maybe. Yeah, maybe, because right now I don't know if there's anything left to work through." She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. "Do you still love me?" I thought about that. Really thought about it. "I don't know," I said honestly. "I love who I thought you were, but I don't know who you actually are anymore." She wrapped her arms around herself again, and for the first time since she'd walked into the hotel room, she looked genuinely hurt. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "Yeah, you did. People make mistakes. People do. But this wasn't forgetting to pick up milk or losing track of time. This was a choice you made over and over for 3 months." She sat back down heavily. "What do you want me to say?" "I don't want you to say anything. I want you to understand what you did." "I do understand." "No, you don't. Because if you understood, You wouldn't have tried to make me feel bad for showing up early. You wouldn't be focused on damage control. You'd be thinking about Noah and Lily and what this means for them. I am thinking about them. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're thinking about yourself. We sat in silence for a long time. Upstairs, I could hear the kids playing some game that involved a lot of running. Finally, Elena spoke. What happens now? I don't know. Do you want me to leave? I thought about that too. No, this is your house. It's our house. I didn't correct her, but we both knew the truth. Her family's money bought this place. Her name was first on the deed. If I left, I'd be leaving with whatever fit in my truck. I'll sleep in the guest room, she said. Give you space. Okay. She stood up slowly, like her body hurt. Maybe it did. Maybe guilt had weight. Marcus? I looked at her. I am sorry. I know you don't believe me, but I am. I didn't respond. After a moment, she left the room. The rest of the weekend passed in a strange fog. Elena stayed mostly in the guest room or went out on mysterious errands. I took care of the kids, kept their routine normal, played games and read books and made sure they felt safe. But Noah knew something was wrong. He kept watching Elena and me with worried eyes. Sunday evening, after dinner, he followed me onto the back porch while I took out the trash. Dad? Yeah, buddy? Are you and Mom getting divorced? I set down the trash bag and sat on the porch steps. He sat next to me. I don't know yet. Tommy's parents got divorced last year. He has to go back and forth between two houses now. He doesn't like it. That sounds hard. Is that going to happen to us? I put my arm around him. If it does, your mom and I will make sure you and Lily are okay. That's the most important thing. But I want us all together. I know, me too. Then why can't you fix it? How do you explain adult problems to a 7-year-old? How do you tell him that sometimes love isn't enough? That respect matters just as much, maybe more? Some things are complicated, I said finally, but I promise you, no matter what happens, you're going to be okay. Mom loves you. I love you. That won't change. He leaned against me. I don't like when you and Mom are fighting. I don't like it either. We sat there until the sun went down, and Elena called us in for dessert. Ice cream she'd bought special, another attempt to smooth over the cracks that were turning into canyons. That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat in the dark living room again with my laptop. I'd been avoiding this, but I needed to know where I stood. I pulled up our bank accounts. Elena managed the money. She was better at it, made more of it, so that had always made sense. But now I needed to see the reality. Joint checking account, $8 and $400. That was mostly my paychecks. I earned decent money, but nothing compared to Elena. Joint savings, $100. We'd been meaning to build that up, but something always came up, usually something for the house. Elena's personal accounts, I didn't have access, never needed it before. I did some quick math. If I left, I could afford a small apartment. Nothing in this neighborhood, but somewhere safe. I'd need to figure out childcare for the days I had the kids. My schedule was flexible, but it wasn't perfect. I could do it. It would be tight, but I could do it. The question was whether I wanted to. Monday morning, I called in sick to work. I wasn't sick, but I couldn't focus on fixing air conditioners when my life was falling apart. Elena had already left for her office by the time I got up. She'd left a note on the counter. Dinner with my father. Tonight. Can we talk when I get home? I crumpled the note and threw it away. Jerome called around 10. You okay, man? You never call in sick. Personal stuff? The wife thing? Yeah. He was quiet for a moment. You need anything? No, thanks though. You sure I can bring by some beer or we can go hit some balls at the batting cage? Get your mind off things. I appreciate it, but I need to think right now. All right, but call me if you change your mind or if you need to move furniture out of somewhere real quick. I almost smiled. Will do. After we hung up, I spent the day going through papers, financial records, the deed to the house, our marriage certificate, everything laid out in black and white, the prenup. I'd forgotten about that. Elena's father had insisted on it before the wedding. At the time, I didn't care. I wasn't marrying her for money. But now I pulled it out and read through the legal language. In the event of divorce, Elena kept the house and all assets acquired through her family's wealth. I kept whatever I'd earned separately. The kids would be split custody unless one parent was deemed unfit. Unfit. I thought about Daniel in that hotel room. Thought about Noah and Lily standing in that doorway. Who was unfit here? Around 3, my phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Hill, this is Mrs. Carter from the Grand Meridian. The concierge. I straightened up. Yes? I hope you don't mind me calling. I got your number from the registration system. She paused. I wanted to check on those beautiful children. Are they all right? Something in my chest loosened slightly. They're okay. Thank you for asking. Good, good. Another pause. I've worked here a long time, Mr. Hill. I see many things. Most I keep to myself. But I wanted you to know what I saw on your face that morning and what I saw when you walked out. You're a good father. Don't let anyone tell you different. My throat got tight. Thank you. You take care of yourself. And those babies. After she hung up, I sat there holding the phone for a long time. Elena came home late that night, smelling like wine and her father's expensive cigars. I was in the kitchen making tea when she walked in. How was dinner? I asked. Fine. She set down her purse. My father asked about you. What did you tell him? That you had to work. So you lied. I didn't want to get into it. I poured hot water over the tea bag. Eventually, you'll have to. I know. She leaned against the counter. Can we talk now? You said you needed space to think. Have you thought? Yeah. And? I turned to face her. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Okay. Why did you marry me? She blinked. What? Why did you marry me? Really? Because I loved you. Did you? Or did you love the idea of rebelling against your father? Her face went carefully blank. That's not fair? Maybe not, but I've been thinking, about it. You introduced me to your family, and they hated it. Your father pulled you aside and told you I wasn't good enough. Your mother cried. I watched her face. And you married me anyway. Why? Because I didn't want them controlling my life. So I was right. I was a rebellion. No, she stopped, started again. At first, maybe there was some of that, but I did love you, Marcus. I do love you. The way you love a comfortable pair of shoes. She flinched. Don't. Answer the question. Do you respect me? The silence stretched too long. I thought so, I said quietly. Marcus, you can love someone and not respect them. I think that's what happened here. You loved having me around, loved that I took care of the kids and didn't complain about your schedule and made your life easier. I set down my tea. But you never saw me as your equal. That's not true, isn't it? Be honest. When you look at me, do you see a partner? Or do you see the maintenance guy who got lucky? Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't answer. I nodded. That's what I thought. I walked past her and went upstairs, leaving her standing alone in the kitchen with all the expensive appliances and granite countertops that somehow never made this place feel like home. Tuesday morning, I took the kids to school like always. Noah held my hand tight crossing the parking lot. Lily asked if she could wear her yellow dress again, the one from Friday. It's dirty, baby, I said. How about the blue one? Okay. They were both quieter than usual, more careful, like they were walking on ice and testing each step before putting their weight down. In the school drop-off line, Noah unbuckled his seatbelt but didn't get out right away. Dad? Yeah? Is mom gonna be home when we get back today? I think so. Why? He shrugged, just wondering. I kissed his forehead. Whatever happens with mom and me, you're going to be okay. Both of you. You said that? Already. I know because it's true. He nodded and climbed out. I watched him walk toward the building, his backpack bouncing with each step. 7 years old, too young to understand why his world was shifting. At work, Jerome found me in the supply room organizing tools I'd already organized twice. You're doing that thing, he said. What thing? That thing where you pretend you're fine by cleaning stuff that doesn't need cleaning. I set down the wrench I'd been wiping. I'm working through some things. By alphabetizing socket sets? Leave me alone, Jerome. He held up his hands. Just trying to help, man. But he didn't leave. He leaned against the doorframe and watched me for a minute. My cousin, he said finally. The one I told you about? When he left his wife, it almost broke him. Not because he loved her, he'd stopped loving her months before, but because he felt like he failed. I don't want to talk about this. You don't have to talk, just listen. Jerome crossed his arms. He spent 2 years trying to make it work. 2 years of therapy and second chances and pretending everything was fine for the kids. You know what he told me after? I didn't answer. He said he wished he'd left sooner, because staying when it was already dead just taught his kids that you're supposed to accept disrespect, that love means swallowing your dignity. I looked at him. You think I should leave? I think you should do whatever lets you look at yourself in the mirror. After he left, I sat there with a wrench in my hand, thinking about mirrors and dignity and what I wanted my kids to learn about love. That afternoon, I picked up Noah and Lily from school. Lily's teacher, Ms. Rodriguez, waved me over. Mr. Hill, can I talk to you for a second? My stomach dropped. Is everything okay? Lily's fine, I just wanted to check in. She smiled gently. She's been quieter than usual the past few days, didn't want to participate in show and tell. Today, that's not like her. We're having some stuff at home, I said carefully. Nothing bad, just adjustments. Ms. Rodriguez nodded. If there's anything the school can do to support her, please let us know. Sometimes kids need extra patience when things change. Thank you. I appreciate that. In the truck, Lily climbed into her booster seat without a word. I checked her buckle and kissed her cheek. Ms. Rodriguez said you didn't want to do show and tell. I forgot my stuff. You never forget your stuff. She looked out the window. I just didn't feel like it. I got in the driver's seat and looked at her in the rearview mirror. Lily Bean, are you okay? Uh-huh. Are you worried about something? She was quiet for a long moment. Then, is mommy going to go away? My chest tightened. Why would you think that? Because you and mommy aren't talking, and she sleeps in the other room now. Kids notice everything. I should have remembered that. Mommy's not going anywhere, I said. We're just figuring some things out. What things? Grown-up things. That's what you always say when you don't want to tell us. She was right. I pulled out of the parking lot and drove home slowly, trying to find words that were honest, but not scary. Sometimes people who love each other have problems, I said finally. That's what's happening with mom and me. We have some problems we need to fix. Can you fix them? I don't know yet. Why not? Because some problems are more complicated than others. In the back seat, Noah said quietly, Is it because of the man at the hotel? My hands tightened on the steering wheel. Noah, I'm not stupid, Dad. I know something bad happened there. I pulled over into a parking lot and turned around to face them. Listen to me, both of you. I waited until they were looking at me. What happened at the hotel was between mom and me. It had nothing to do with you. You didn't do anything wrong, and no matter what happens next, mom and I both love you more than anything in the world. That will never change. But you're sad, Lily said. Yeah, I am sad right now. Because of Mommy? Yeah. Did she make you sad? I thought about how to answer that. Sometimes people we love hurt us without meaning to, or maybe they meant to, but they didn't understand how much it would hurt. That's what happened. Noah's eyes were too old suddenly, too knowing. Is that why you're not sleeping in your room anymore? I'm still sleeping there. Mom's the one in the guest room. But you're the one who's mad. Yeah. So why doesn't she have to leave? Kids, and their simple logic. Because it's more complicated than that. Why? Because it just is, Noah. We sat there for a minute, traffic passing by outside, the whole world moving like everything was normal, even though nothing felt normal. Are we still a family? Lily asked in a small voice. Yes, always? Even if you and Mommy aren't together? Even then, she thought about that. Okay. But I could tell it wasn't okay. Not really. When we got home, Elena's car was already in the driveway. I tensed without meaning to. The kids noticed. Inside, Elena was in the kitchen making dinner. Actual cooking, not just heating something up. The smell of garlic and tomatoes filled the house. Hi, babies! She smiled big and bright. I'm making spaghetti. Your favorite, Noah. He looked at me before answering. Thanks, Mom. Why don't you two go wash up? Dinner will be ready in 10 minutes. They went upstairs, and I stood in the kitchen doorway watching Elena stir sauce with too much focus. You're home early, I said. I wanted to have dinner with my family. She didn't look at me. That okay with you? It's your house. She flinched. Don't say it like that. Like what? Like I'm a stranger you're tolerating. I didn't answer. Maybe that's what she was becoming. Dinner was awkward. Elena asked about school. The kids gave one-word answers. She talked about her day at work. Nobody really listened. I ate my spaghetti and said nothing. After dinner, Elena insisted on doing the dishes. I took the kids upstairs for bath time and homework. When I came back down, she was sitting at the kitchen table with 2 glasses of wine. I poured you one, she said. I don't want it. Marcus, please, can we just talk like adults? I sat down across from her but didn't touch the wine. What do you want to talk about? Us, what we're doing, where we go from here. She took a sip from her glass. I've been thinking a lot about what you said, about respect. And, you're right, I haven't respected you the way I should have. Her voice was steady now, like she'd practiced this. I got caught up in my own life, my own stress, and I stopped seeing you as a partner. I'm sorry for that. Okay. Okay? She looked surprised. That's all? What do you want me to say, that I forgive you? Do you? I don't know yet. She set down her glass. What do you need from me? Tell me what I can do to fix this. I don't think you can. Don't say that. Why not? It's true. I leaned back in my chair. You didn't just make a mistake, Elena. You had a whole separate life for 3 months. You lied to me. You brought your, whatever he is, into a space where our children could see him. You put them in a position to get hurt. I know. And when I confronted you, your first response wasn't to apologize. It was to blame me for showing up early. I was in shock. No, you were annoyed. There's a difference. She looked down at her hands. I handled it badly. Yeah, you did. But that doesn't mean we can't work through this. People recover from affairs. Marriages survive worse than this. Maybe, but those marriages had something to begin with. Her head snapped up. What's that supposed to mean? It means I don't think we ever had a real partnership. I think we had an arrangement that looked like a marriage from the outside. That's not true, isn't it? Be honest, Elena. When's the last time you asked me about my day and actually listened to the answer? When's the last time you introduced me to your work friends without that apologetic tone in your voice? When's the last time you looked at me and saw someone you were proud to be with? She opened her mouth, closed it. Nothing came out. That's what I thought, I said quietly. I am proud of you. No, you're not. You're embarrassed by me. Maybe not all the time, maybe not consciously, but deep down, you think you married beneath you. Stop putting words in my mouth. Then tell me I'm wrong. Look me in the eye and tell me you don't wish I was more like your father's business partners, more like Daniel. Her face flushed. Daniel is nothing. He was a distraction, a what? A mistake? An escape? I stood up. He was someone you thought you deserved, someone on your level. Because I'm not, am I? Marcus, answer the question. She stared at me for a long moment, and in that silence, I heard everything she wasn't saying. I love you, she whispered finally. Love isn't enough. Not without respect. Not without seeing me as your equal. I left her sitting there with her untouched wine and went upstairs to check on the kids one more time before bed. Thursday, Elena barely spoke to me. She left early for work and came home late. When she was home, she stayed in the guest room with the door closed. The kids noticed, but they stopped asking questions. Friday afternoon, I was fixing a commercial refrigerator at a restaurant downtown when my phone rang. Elena's father, Paul Whitmore. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Marcus. His voice was cold and formal like always. We need to talk. About what? My daughter tells me you're having marital difficulties. So she'd told him, or he'd guessed. Either way, now it was real. That's between Elena and me, I said. Not when it affects my grandchildren. Noah and Lily are fine. Are they? Because Elena says you've moved out. I haven't moved anywhere. I'm still in the house. But you're sleeping in separate rooms, fighting in front of the children. We're not fighting in front of them. We're barely talking. He was quiet for a moment. Elena made a mistake, a serious one, but she's trying to fix it. Is she, or is she trying to manage the situation? What's the difference? One comes from the heart, the other comes from a business meeting. He made a sound that might have been a laugh. You always were more perceptive than I gave you credit for. Thanks, I think. Marcus, I'm going to be blunt with you. Do you plan to file for divorce? I'm thinking about it. Before you do, I suggest you remember the prenuptial agreement you signed. There it was, the threat wrapped in advice. I remember it, I said. Then you understand that you'd be walking away with very little. No house, limited assets, and custody would be complicated. Custody? Elena cheated. I found her with another man. A man who was never in the house with the children. A man who represents a lapse in judgment, not a pattern of dangerous behavior. His voice was calm, clinical. My daughter has resources, lawyers, time. If this goes to court, she'll present herself as a dedicated mother who made a mistake. You'll be the angry husband who abandoned his family. My hand tightened on the phone. I haven't abandoned anyone. Not yet. But if you leave, that's how it will look. So, what are you saying? That I should stay in a broken marriage because she has better lawyers? I'm saying you should think carefully about what's best for your children and whether your pride is worth potentially losing them. The line went dead. I stood there in the back room of the restaurant, surrounded by stainless steel and fluorescent lights, and felt something crack inside me. Not anger, not despair, clarity. Paul Whitmore thought he could threaten me into compliance, thought he could use my kids as leverage, thought I would fold because I was just the maintenance guy who'd gotten lucky. But he was wrong about one thing. I wasn't just thinking about what was best for my kids, I was teaching them what was best. And staying in a marriage without respect, accepting betrayal because the alternative was inconvenient, that wasn't the lesson I wanted them to learn. That night, I sat down at the kitchen table and started making lists. Not emotional lists, practical ones. What I earned, what I needed for rent and utilities, what childcare would cost, what a lawyer would cost. The numbers weren't pretty, but they were possible. I'd grown up poor, not desperate, but tight. My mom had raised 4 kids on a grocery store clerk's salary after my dad left. She'd taught me that dignity costs more than money, that you can lose everything except your self respect, and as long as you keep that, you can rebuild. Elena came home around 9. She found me in the kitchen with papers spread across the table. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Planning." She moved closer and saw the budget spreadsheet. Her face went pale. "You're leaving." "Yeah? When?" "Soon. I need to find a place first. Something close enough for the kids." "Marcus, your father called me today." She closed her eyes. "Oh God. He threatened me, said if I file for divorce, you'll fight for custody, that you'll make me look like the bad guy. I didn't ask him to do that, but you're not telling me he's wrong either." She sat down across from me. "I don't want to fight over the kids." "Then don't." "But if you leave—" "When I leave," I corrected. "Not if, when." "When you leave," she said quietly, "we'll have to figure out custody. That's just reality. And yes, I have more resources than you do. But I don't want to use them as weapons." "But you will if you have to." She didn't answer. That's what I thought. I gathered up my papers. "I'll be out by the end of the month." "What do I tell the kids?" "The truth. That mom and dad are going to live in different places, but both of us love them. They'll be devastated. They're already devastated. This way at least they'll see what self-respect looks like." I went upstairs and lay in bed staring at the ceiling. In the guest room, I could hear Elena crying. Part of me wanted to feel sorry for her, but the bigger part of me, the part that had watched her laugh with Daniel in that hotel room, the part that remembered how she'd blamed me for coming early, the part that heard her father's threats and knew she'd let them happen, that part stayed quiet and cold. Saturday morning, I took the kids to breakfast at a diner downtown. Just us, no Elena. "Why isn't Mom coming?" Noah asked, drowning his pancakes in syrup. "I wanted some just us time," I said. "Are you mad at her still?" "Not mad, just separate." Lily looked up from her coloring sheet. "What does separate mean?" "It means sometimes people need space from each other, even people who love each other." "That's sad." "Yeah, baby. Sometimes it is." After breakfast, we walked through the park. The morning was cold and clear, and their breath made little clouds when they talked. "Dad," Noah said, "can I ask you something?" "Always." "If you and Mom split up, do we have to choose?" "Choose what?" "Who we love more." I stopped walking and crouched down so I was at his level. "No, you never have to choose. You love both of us however much you want, and that's okay." "But what if Mom asks?" "She won't, and if she does, you tell her I said you don't have to choose." He nodded, but his eyes were still worried. Lily hugged my neck. "I don't want 2 houses." "I know. Can't you and Mom just be nice to each other?" "How do you explain to a 5-year-old that being nice isn't enough? That you can be polite and civil and still slowly die inside?" "We're trying, Lily Bean. But sometimes trying isn't enough." That night, after the kids were asleep, Elena knocked on the bedroom door. "Can I come in?" I almost said no, but something in her voice made me open the door. She stood there in pajamas, her eyes red from crying. No makeup, no polished presentation. Just Elena, looking smaller and more uncertain than I'd ever seen her. I talked to a lawyer today, she said. Okay, not to fight you, to understand the process. She wrapped her arms around herself. They said if we can agree on custody arrangements, it doesn't have to go to court. And? And I want to agree. I don't want to fight. I don't want to hurt the kids more than we already have. I studied her face, looking for the trap. What about your father? I told him to stay out of it. This is between us. Will he listen? Probably not, but I'll deal with him. We stood there in silence for a minute. I'm sorry, she whispered, for all of it. For Daniel, for disrespecting you, for letting my family treat you like you weren't enough. You deserved better than what I gave you. Yeah, I did. Can I ask you something? What? Did you ever love me? Really? I thought about that. Yeah, I did. But I don't think you ever loved yourself enough to let someone else love you properly. She started crying again, silent tears running down her face. I hope you figure that out someday, I said. Not for me, for you, and for whoever comes next. There won't be anyone next. There will be, eventually. And when there is, I hope you treat them better than you treated me. She nodded and turned to leave. At the door, she paused. For what it's worth, I think you're going to be okay. You're stronger than I ever gave you credit for. I know. After she left, I lay back down and felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Peace, not happiness, not relief, just peace. The kind that comes from knowing you made the right choice, even when it's the hard one. 2 weeks later, I signed a lease on a 2-bedroom apartment 15 minutes from the house. It wasn't much. Second floor, carpet that had seen better days, a kitchen barely big enough to turn around in. But the windows let in good light, and there was a park across the street. The kids would be okay here. I would be okay here. Jerome helped me move on a Saturday. Not that I had much to move. A bed, some clothes, kitchen stuff Elena said I could take, my tools, a bookshelf, pictures of Noah and Lily. This place has potential, Jerome said, setting down a box in the living room. It's small. It's yours. That's what matters. He was right. For the first time in 5 years, I lived in a space that belonged to me. No strings attached, no silent judgment, no feeling like I was a guest in someone else's life. Elena brought the kids by, Sunday afternoon, to see the new place. They ran through the rooms while she stood in the doorway, not quite coming inside. It's nice, she said. It'll do. Noah appeared from the back bedroom. Can I have this room, Dad? It has a window that looks at the park. That's yours, buddy. Lily gets the other one. But mine's smaller, Lily protested. They're the same size. Come look. I showed them both rooms, truly identical, and watched them debate decorations and furniture placement. Their voices echoed in the empty space, already filling it with life. Elena watched from the hallway. They seem okay. Kids are resilient. Thanks to you, she looked at me. You've been good about this, better than I deserve. I'm not doing it for you. I know. We stood there in awkward silence until Lily came running back. Daddy, can we get bunk beds? We'll see. Please? Noah and I can share a room, and then you can have the other one for your stuff. Baby, you each get your own room. That's the whole point. But what if we get scared at night? I crouched down. Then you come find me. My room's right there. I pointed to the door across the hall. And you know what? We're going to have a special rule here. What rule? Anytime you're scared or sad or just need a hug, my door is always open. Day or night. Deal? She threw her arms around my neck. Deal. Over her shoulder, I saw Elena wipe her eyes. The next few weeks fell into a rhythm. The kids stayed with me Monday and Tuesday nights, with Elena Wednesday and Thursday. We alternated weekends. It wasn't perfect, but it worked. Noah struggled more than Lily at first. He kept forgetting things at the other house: homework, his favorite jacket, his soccer cleats. But slowly, he adjusted, started keeping duplicate supplies at both places, stopped asking when mom and dad were getting back together. Lily handled it differently. She got quieter, more clingy. Some mornings she'd crawl into my bed before sunrise and just lie there, not saying anything, just needing to be close. "You okay, Lily Bean?" I'd ask. "Uh-huh." "Having a hard time?" "A little bit." "Want to talk about it?" "Not really." So I'd just hold her and let her be sad, because that's what she needed: permission to feel whatever she felt without having to explain it. At work, things were good, better than good. My boss promoted me to senior supervisor, which came with a small raise and more responsibility. Jerome said it was because they'd noticed how I'd handled everything in my personal life without missing work or falling apart. "You're solid, man," he said. "That matters." One Thursday evening, I got a call from Mrs. Carter, the hotel concierge. "Mr. Hill, I hope I'm not disturbing you." "Not at all. How are you, Mrs. Carter?" "I'm well, thank you. I wanted to let you know something, and I hope I'm not overstepping." "What is it?" "That man who was in the room that morning? Mr. Reeves? Daniel. I hadn't heard his name in weeks." "What about him?" "He came back to the hotel last week with someone else's wife, from what I could tell." She paused. "I just thought you should know the kind of person you were dealing with, in case you ever doubted yourself." "I appreciate that." "You take care of yourself, Mr. Hill, and those beautiful children." After we hung up, I sat with that information for a while. Daniel was doing to someone else what he'd done to me. Some other husband would find out eventually. Some other family would crack apart. I felt sorry for them, but mostly, I felt grateful it wasn't me anymore. 6 weeks after I moved out, Elena called me on a Friday night. "Can you come by tomorrow? I need to talk to you about something." "Can't you tell me now?" "I'd rather do it in person." My stomach tightened. "Is it about the kids?" "No, they're fine. This is about something else." The next day, I drove to the house. I still thought of it as the house, not her house, and found Elena waiting on the front porch. She looked different, thinner, tired. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore jeans and a sweater instead of her usual business clothes. "Thanks for coming," she said. "What's going on?" She gestured to the chairs on the porch. We sat, and for a minute she just stared at her hands. "I've been seeing a therapist," she said finally. "Okay." "She's helping me understand some things about myself, about how I grew up, about why I made the choices I made." I waited. "My father," she continued, "he raised me to believe that feelings were weaknesses, that emotions were things to control and manage, not things to actually feel. Everything was about strategy and presentation and maintaining the right image." "I know, but you don't know what that was like. Growing up in that house, being measured against impossible standards, never being allowed to just be human." She looked at me. "I'm not making excuses. What I did to you was wrong, unforgivable, really, but I'm trying to understand why I did it. Have you figured it out?" "Some of it. I think I married you because you were real. You felt things openly. You loved without calculating the cost. That was so different from my world that it felt like freedom." She wiped her eyes. "But I didn't know how to be in that kind of relationship. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop, for you to want something from me, or use me, or prove that emotions were just manipulation after all." "I never did any of that." "I know, and that scared me more than anything. Because if you were genuine, if what we had was real, then I had to be real too. And I didn't know how." I sat back in my chair. "So, you sabotaged it." "Yeah, I think I did. Not consciously, but yeah." She pulled her sweater tighter around herself. Daniel was safe. He didn't want anything real from me. He just wanted the surface stuff, the excitement, the ego, boost, whatever. With him, I didn't have to be vulnerable. And with me, you did. With you, I had to be a whole person. And I wasn't ready for that. We sat in silence while birds sang in the trees and the world moved on around us. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Because you deserve to know. And because. She hesitated. I wanted you to know it wasn't about you. You didn't do anything wrong. You were exactly who you were supposed to be. I was the one who couldn't handle it. Okay? That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say? That I forgive you? Do you? I thought about it. Really thought about it. I'm working on it, I said. Not for you. For me. Because I don't want to carry anger around forever. That's fair. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, and it doesn't mean we can go back to how things were. I know. She pulled something out of her pocket. An envelope. The divorce papers are finalized. I signed them. Your lawyer should have copies by Monday. I took the envelope but didn't open it. I didn't fight you on anything, she said. Custody, assets, nothing. Whatever you asked for, I agreed to. Why? Because it was the least I could do. Because you were right about everything. And because I want you to be happy, even if it's not with me. I stood up. I should go. Marcus? I turned back. Are you happy? Now? I thought about my small apartment with the secondhand furniture and the carpet that had seen better days. Thought about my kids running through those rooms, filling them with laughter. Thought about waking up in the morning without that tight feeling in my chest. I'm getting there, I said, and I was. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I took the kids to the beach for a weekend. Just us, a cheap motel, and 72 hours of nothing but sand and water and time. Noah built elaborate sandcastles that the tide destroyed every evening. He didn't get upset about it, just started planning the next one. Lily collected shells and sorted them by color. She was talking more now, laughing more. The quiet sadness had started to lift. Sunday evening, we sat on the beach watching the sunset. Lily leaned against my shoulder while Noah dug his toes into the sand. Dad? Noah said. Yeah? Are you going to get married again? I don't know. Maybe someday? What if we don't like her? Then I'd want to know why. Your opinion matters to me. He thought about that. Would she be nice to us? Any woman I dated would have to be good to you guys. That's non-negotiable. What's non-negotiable mean? It means it's a rule that doesn't change, like how I always love you, no matter what. That's non-negotiable too. Lily picked up a shell and handed it to me. This one's my favorite. You can keep it. I turned it over in my hand. Perfect and smooth, worn down by water and time. Thank you, baby. Will you keep it forever? Forever. She smiled and went back to her collection. That night, back at the motel, I put the kids to bed and sat outside on the balcony. The ocean was dark and vast, and I could hear waves crashing in the distance. My phone buzzed. Elena. How's the beach? Good. Kids are having fun. Good. That's good. A pause. Marcus, can I ask you something? Sure. Do you regret it? Any of it? I thought about that question, about the 5 years we'd spent together, the house that never felt like home, the marriage that looked perfect from the outside but was hollow at the core. I regret the pain, I said. I regret what the kids went through, but I don't regret leaving. Neither do I. That surprised me. Really? Really? I think we both needed to be free, to figure out who we actually are instead of who we thought we were supposed to be. She was quiet for a moment. I'm dating someone new. Oh. His name is Michael. He's a teacher. Very different from before. Is he good to you? Yeah, he is. He calls me out when I'm being closed off, makes me actually talk about feelings. It's uncomfortable as hell, but it's good. That's good, Elena, really. What about you? Are you seeing anyone? No, not ready yet. You will be, eventually. She laughed softly. Some woman is going to be very lucky. After we hung up, I sat there looking at the ocean and thinking about luck and love and all the ways they're different. I'd been lucky to meet Elena, lucky to have two beautiful kids, lucky to learn hard lessons about respect and dignity. But love, real love, wasn't about luck. It was about choosing someone who chose you back, who saw you clearly and valued what they saw, who understood that respect and attraction and commitment all mattered equally. Someday I'd find that, or maybe it would find me. But for now, I had my kids, my job, my small apartment with the good light. I had my self-respect intact, and that was enough. 4 months later, on a random Tuesday morning, I dropped the kids at school and headed to work. My phone rang while I was driving. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Hill? This is Janet from Greenfield Elementary. There's been an incident with Lily. My heart dropped. Is she okay? She's fine, but she got into an altercation with another student and we need you to come in. When I got to the school, I found Lily sitting in the principal's office, arms crossed, looking defiant. The principal, Mrs. Webster, gestured for me to sit. What happened? I asked. Lily pushed another student during recess, Mrs. Webster explained. The other child wasn't hurt, but pushing is not acceptable behavior. I looked at Lily. Why'd you push someone? She stared at the floor. Lily, look at me. She looked up and I saw tears in her eyes. He said you were poor, that we're poor now because you and Mommy split up. My chest tightened. What did you say? I told him we're not poor, and he laughed, so I pushed him. Mrs. Webster cleared her throat. While we understand Lily was upset, violence is never the answer. She'll need to apologize. She will. I turned to Lily. But first, can you give us a minute alone? Mrs. Webster nodded and left the office. I knelt down in front of Lily's chair. Look at me, baby. She did, tears running down her face. That boy was mean. What he said wasn't true and it wasn't kind. You were right to stand up for our family. Then why am I in trouble? Because pushing isn't how we solve problems. We use words. We walk away. We tell a teacher. We don't hurt people, even when they hurt us first. But you left Mommy when she hurt you. Smart kid. Too smart sometimes. That's different. I didn't hurt Mommy. I just stopped staying where I wasn't respected. There's a difference between protecting yourself and pushing someone down. She wiped her nose. Are we poor? No. We're not rich like Mommy's family. But we have everything we need. A home, food, each other. That's not poor, Lily. That's blessed. Jackson said his dad said you're just a maintenance man. There it was. The real wound. I am a maintenance man. I fix things. That's honest work and I'm good at it. Anyone who looks down on me for that is showing who they are, not who I am. But, listen to me. I'm going to tell you something important, and I need you to remember it always. I waited until she was really looking at me. Your worth isn't about how much money you have. It's not about what job you do or what house you live in. Your worth is about how you treat people, about whether you're kind and honest and brave. Can you understand that? She nodded slowly. Good. Now you're going to apologize to that boy for pushing him. Not because what he said was okay, but because we don't hurt people. Deal? Deal. I hugged her tight. I'm proud of you for defending our family. Just use your words next time. Okay, Daddy. After Lily apologized and we left the school, I texted Elena to let her know what happened. She called immediately. Is she okay? She's fine. Just dealing with some stuff about the divorce. Jackson's father is Craig Morrison. He works with my father. I'm going to call him right now and. No, but he. Elena. No, Lily needs to learn how to handle this stuff herself. We can't fight all her battles. She was quiet. You're right. Sorry. I just hate that she's going through this because of us. Me too. But she's going to be okay. She's tougher than we think. That evening, after the kids were asleep, I sat on my balcony with a beer and thought about what Lily had said. You're just a maintenance man. Yeah, I was. I fixed things for a living. Air conditioners, heating systems, broken refrigerators. I'd spent 5 years trying to fix a marriage that was broken from the start. I couldn't fix that, but I'd fixed myself, fixed my life, fixed my relationship with my kids so they knew they were loved and valued and safe. That mattered more than any title or bank account. My phone buzzed. Jerome. You busy? Just sitting here feeling philosophical. That's dangerous. Want to grab a beer tomorrow night? Linda's taking the kids to her mother's. Yeah, that sounds good. How you doing, man? Really? I looked out at the park across the street, lit by street lamps. Thought about my small apartment, my kids sleeping in their rooms, the life I'd built from scratch. I'm doing okay, I said. Better than okay, actually. Yeah? Yeah. I've got everything that matters. And I did. 6 months after that, on a cold Saturday morning in January, I was at the hardware store picking up supplies for a repair job when I literally ran into someone coming around the corner of an aisle. Sorry, I started. No, I'm sorry, I wasn't. We both stopped. She was black, about my age, wearing jeans and an old sweater with paint stains on it. Pretty smile, kind eyes. My fault, I said. Wasn't watching where I was going. Me neither. I was looking at my shopping list and not paying attention. We stood there for an awkward second. Well, I said, have a good day. You too. I walked away, thinking that was the end of it. But when I got to the checkout line, she was 2 people ahead of me. She turned around and caught me looking. I smiled. She smiled back. When she finished paying, she paused by the exit like she was deciding something. Then she walked back over. This is going to sound weird, she said. But I'm terrible at this kind of thing, so I'm just going to say it. Would you want to get coffee sometime? I blinked. Coffee? Or tea? Or whatever you drink. You seem nice, and I haven't done this in forever, so if you say no, I'll just die of embarrassment and never shop here again. I laughed. I have 2 kids. Okay? And I'm divorced. Also, okay. I have a daughter. Also divorced. Really? 2 years now. Still figuring out the whole dating thing? She held out her hand. I'm Simone. I shook it. Marcus? So? Coffee? I thought about all the reasons to say no, about how I wasn't ready, about how my life was complicated, about how I'd sworn off relationships until I figured myself out completely. Then I thought about Simone's kind eyes and honest smile and the fact that she'd been brave enough to ask. Yeah, I said. Coffee sounds good. We exchanged numbers. She left, and I stood there in the hardware store holding my supplies and grinning like an idiot. Maybe I wasn't completely healed yet. Maybe I still had work to do. But I was ready to try. Some mornings now, when I drop the kids at Elena's house, I see her watching from the window, not with anger or regret, just watching. She sees my truck, 9 years old, dents in the bumper, but paid off in mine. She sees Noah and Lily run to her door, happy and healthy and loved by both their parents. She sees me drive away, not looking back, heading toward life I built with my own hands. And I think maybe she understands now what I tried to tell her before. That dignity isn't loud. It doesn't announce itself or demand recognition. It just walks away from places where it isn't honored. and finds places where it is. I'm not rich. I'm not powerful. I don't live in a house with marble floors or drive a car that costs more than most people make in a year. But I have something money can't buy. I have my self respect. I have my kids' trust. I have a life that's mine, built on my terms, shaped by my choices. And on Saturday mornings, I have coffee dates with a woman who looks at me and sees someone worth knowing. Not someone who got lucky, not someone who married up, just someone who knows his worth and refuses to accept less than what he deserves. That's not a loud victory, but it's mine. And some mornings, when the sun comes through my apartment windows and lights up everything I've built, I think about that hotel room and that man and that moment when everything fell apart. And I'm grateful because breaking taught me how to be whole. Losing taught me what truly matters. And silence, quiet, dignified silence, taught me more about strength than anger ever could. The ending isn't perfect. It isn't tied up with a bow, but it's real. And real is enough.